Welcome to the AI Automations for Business podcast. We're your hosts, Katie and Noel, and we'll be discussing how you can use AI for your business along with the latest news, updates, and automations to help you stay ahead of the curve, allowing you to grow and scale your business more efficiently. Please be sure to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, welcome back to another episode. Hello, I'm Katie, and as always, I've got Noel here with me today. How's it going, Noel?
Yeah, it's going great this week, thanks. Yeah,
Have you had a good week?
Yeah, very busy. Yeah. I've had lots of things going on in the Clyde world this week, so yeah.
Yeah, do you want to give us a little update about Clyde and what's been going on?
So the early access version of Clyde is now available, so Clyde can now create its own sub-teams and manage them directly, and there's that also updates the organization chart. There's a Kanban task board, all integrated and in there. But I think the biggest change I did was the entire prompting architecture. So what you find, well, what I was finding with Clyde and what people also find with OpenClaw is it chews through AI tokens. And I was like, right, I need to fix this. So the fix I've added in saved about 66% of the AI token usage. So pretty big update.
Wow, very impressive.
Yeah. It's working really, really well at the minute. So yeah, lots more.
And if anyone wants to go and check Clyde out, where do they go?
So we've got projectclyde.app is the website, and yeah, you can find all the links to GitHub to get the free access version, and also the links to Patreon to get access to the early access version as well. So all the links are there, and we'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, big update.
Very big, yeah.
So anything else going on in the AI world? Any updates? Anything cray going on?
I've not seen anything that's raising any big red flags or anything like that. Nothing. It seems fairly quiet this week. Yeah, I'm sure they're cooking up something for the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. All taking stock.
Yeah. This week we are talking all about prompt engineering. Now, if you are a long-time listener of the podcast, you're probably thinking, well, Katie, Noel, you've already done a podcast episode on this. And they would be right, wouldn't they, Noel?
They would, yeah. Yeah, that was way back in season 1, episode 2 is when we first did prompt engineering. So, yeah. But lots of things have changed in the meantime. So, yeah.
Yeah, because that must have been like almost a year ago. Almost the week that we did that episode.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's kind of almost in that pre-reasoning model phase as well. I don't think we had those at that point.
Yeah.
So
I'm just trying to think how much AI has changed in the year that we've been doing the podcast.
Yeah. I mean, agents weren't really a thing, were they, this time last year? So
no.
They were if you paid $200 a month to OpenAI, they'd give you access to an agent that didn't really work very well. But
yeah.
But now they're just a common thing, aren't they? So
yeah. Well, I can even remember in the summer, we were talking to people and they were paying £800 a month for an agent or something.
Yeah. Crazy money.
Anyway, we're going off piece. So prompt engineering. So prompt engineering has changed so much in the last year. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that, Noel?
Yeah. So I would say 12 months ago and previous to that, you had to be really, really on it when it came to prompt engineering. So you had to have everything structured in the right kind of way in order for, large language models like ChatGPT or Claude to understand what you wanted and give you roughly the right output. So, yeah, whereas now these days it's more chat orientated. So the models are smarter. And for the user, it's more of a two-way conversation to get to the endpoint. It doesn't mean prompt engineering's useless, or outdated. It's still a really awesome skill to learn, and it'll make your life with LLMs so much simpler. But the way in which we can use them is kind of changing, and has changed a lot in the last few months. So yeah, we'll dig into that in just a moment.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, so if you're still using prompts the way we did this time last year, it's outdated, and there's a better way to prompt engineer, is what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think I have to think back to when I had my TikTok, and I used to show like ChatGPT prompts in like GPT-3, and they had to be really, really rigorously structured to get the output you needed. And it's like, you don't really need to do that anymore.
Okay, this is good.
But yeah, and I think the way it has changed a lot. So I guess the big change that we're going to talk about is context engineering.
Okay,
So
yeah, let's dig into that. So
yeah,
what even does that mean?
So I guess if you could go to any chat model right now and then say, go off and build me a landing page for my website. This is my company name. And that's all you can give it. And it'll go off and it will do that for you. It'll build you a HTML website. But obviously a lot of it is going to be made up, because it's got to work with that is I need a landing page, and that's the company name. So I need to make up everything. So the key these days is being able to provide the AI with enough context to understand what you want.
And also, I guess, what you don't want, because I think that's really important as well. Like we are so focused very often on what we want that actually we forget that, putting in what we don't want as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's really important.
For me, one of my bugbears with Claude is my fault, because I always forget to tell it, like, not to include any Oxford commas, because I do not use Oxford commas at all. Never have done. Probably never will. That's just my writing style. So it's just even something really simple like that, isn't it? That we forget, like, to, because very often we put in the prompt, it comes out, and then we're like, well, no, I didn't want it to be like this. I didn't want it to have Oxford commas. I don't want it to include blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Or I don't, I write in long sentences and not short sentences.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is really important to get that right, isn't it? Otherwise, you just end up in that loop going round and round. But I guess also sometimes you don't actually know what you don't want until you see it, as well as the other.
This is also true.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that recently. That's like, no, I didn't like that. I didn't know I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, with context engineering, I mean, there's lots of things. I mean, it kind of sounds probably quite complicated, and you might think, I don't have the time to go through, I just want something quick done, I don't have time to create all of that extra context to get what I need. But what I've been finding recently is I would have an idea of what I need to do, and then what I do is I open up a fresh chat window and then go, right, this is what I'm after doing. Go off and create me that context. So, it'll create like a document. We have a back and forth, talk about it, and then, it'll create that output. So then when I come to doing the job, I can just get, right, here's everything you need. This is it. Copy paste that in, and off it'll go and do that job for you. So that's kind of how I went off and built Clyde. So, I gave the language model like all of the requirements, and then it built like a massive document based on that, which I could use as the context. And as soon as we started building it, it worked first time, which is amazing in itself.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get that right, though, isn't it? Get that context right, and obviously don't just if you use an LLM to create that context, then do read it first. A lot of people these days will just go, AI's created it, copy paste, whatever, and then then they look at the output and go, hold on a minute, this isn't right. And then read the instructions again and like, oh yeah, it clearly says in there to do this particular thing. And it's like, yeah, I think some people are getting a little lazy with that. And I kind of I do that as well. But yeah, it's always important to double check all of your instructions before you start a project.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I know sometimes like I typed too fast and I put like can instead of like cannot and stuff like that. So then, yeah, it's basically doing the opposite of what I want it to do, or yeah, things like that. It's just because, yeah, we're all trying to do things so fast, aren't we, right now?
Yeah, I also find when doing that initial context bit with AI, sometimes it might add stuff in. So depending on what chat model you're using, it might think, hey, this is a good idea. I'm just going to chuck that feature in there as well. So whether you finally get to doing something, you look at the output and you're like, well, where did this come from? You know, it's just gone off on a complete tangent, which is not very helpful. But
not helpful at all.
No, not really.
Don't want that.
No, it tried to sneak some of those into my Clyde document. I was like, no.
No.
That's not what I was after. So yeah, but yeah, giving AI as much context and information, I think, is probably the most important thing to do these days. I think once you start doing that, your outputs and your interactions with AI will be so much better. And yeah, I've been finding that a lot recently in the last few months. Giving it all that information, the outputs, I'm just like, wow, okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So can you give us some examples? So let's say you're I don't know, writing an email newsletter, like a weekly email to your email subscribers, and maybe you want help with like some ideas on what to send that week. You know what you want to promote, and so you want the email to be around that particular subject that goes nicely into your offer. What would be a prompt that you would use now versus this time last year?
So I guess with what I would used to do, I would have to I would normally describe absolutely everything that I would want manually, and and then go about it that way. But what I find that I do more these days is I'll go off and let's say your particular offer is on a page on your website. I'll go and grab that URL for the website, add that into the conversation. I would give it, examples of all of the previous emails and things like that, so it understands the structure and I guess your tone of voice as well and things like that. So, I'm just feeding it as much information as I possibly can and, arming it with all of that. So when I set it to work to create that email, it will understand everything and then create it first time, hopefully, or very close anyway. It'll get you most of the way. So that's kind of how I've changed to using stuff. I find I'm copy pasting the hell of a lot of stuff these days.
Yeah.
Whether it be links or documents, adding documents into the chat, I'm doing that far more than what I used to do. And yeah, getting far better outputs from it. So that's kind of where I would start.
Okay, so copying and pasting the writing examples that you've actually written without AI.
Yes. Yeah.
And then kind of then saying, so you would say, I need some help, putting a framework together for an email that I want to send out to my email subscribers. I send once a week.
Yeah.
This is an example of a previous email that I have sent. The email needs to be around this offer on my webpage. Copy and paste the URL.
Yeah.
And then would you say, as you can tell from my writing, I have a warm and friendly tone, something like that? Would you put
you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you're using Claude and you've already got like a brand voice skill, then reference that within the prompt as well. So, write it using this specific skill.
Okay.
Claude would usually kind of recognize that you're trying to create written content, will automatically pick it. But yeah, if you're using it and you're using skills, then I always add that in as well, just to make sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we've built a skill in in Claude.
Mm-hmm.
We've referenced it. Is there anything else that you would put in before?
No, I think that kind of gives all of it, because I think one thing you would normally find, especially when you're trying to promote an offer as like a business owner, you just put, well, this is what it's called, this is the price. Whereas now if you give it the website, it understands more fully what's going on, so it'll get the nuances of what the actual offer is. And you might
how it's going to benefit your reader, and
help
them.
Yeah, it can pick up on all of that just by looking at the website. So yeah, could do a better job
as
than
long
we
as
can.
I guess your sales page on your website is
good. Yeah,
it's good. Or has that information.
Exactly, yeah, because you might forget to also tell the AI and say, well, actually, this is like an introductory offer limited to X amount per day or whatever. So you might, in the old way, have forgotten to have done that. So when you got the output, you'd be like, oh, damn it, I forgot to include that code. Whereas now, give it the website, it would find that anyway and then incorporate that seamlessly into the text. So yeah.
Okay. So hit return and it should come out with something that you're pretty pleased with this time round.
Fingers crossed, yes.
Yeah. And then if you don't want anything included as well, obviously you would have added that. So like for me, don't include Oxford commas.
Yeah, I've only started using them since we mentioned it on an earlier podcast. You called me out for not knowing what that was. I can't remember what we were talking about, but now I use it all the time.
I mean, there's an amazing song by Vampire Weekend actually called Oxford comma.
Yeah,
it's like one of my favorite songs of all time. So, but that might have been in your we call a period of Noel's time a black hole. So it's where Noel was serving in the Royal Navy, so he doesn't know, or like there's a whole bunch of films that he hasn't watched, a whole bunch of music that he's not heard of. So I think that probably would have fallen into your music black hole.
Yeah, that 10-year hole.
Yeah. It's always quite interesting when I'm like, look, like, when Netflix put on, old films, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I used to love that film. I went to see it at the cinema, and like Noel's like, never heard of it or never watched it.
No, if no one had a pirated version on a DVD, I've never have watched it in the Navy.
Or if it wasn't on like the Christmas TV.
Yeah. Forces Television. Oh.
Yeah.
There's not much music on the BBC World Service either. So
no. So yes, but you've started using them.
I have, yes.
So fancy, Noel.
I know, yeah. I think we're talking about brand voice, weren't we? And
I think I then kind of probably made it known about how much I dislike Oxford commas then, and you were like, what's an Oxford comma?
Clueless. Yeah.
Every day is a learning day.
It is, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, a client just taught me a new trick earlier, so yeah, I'm still learning.
There you go. I feel like it's always been a successful day if you've learned something new.
Definitely, yeah.
I mean, people listening to this podcast might now have learned something new, that Vampire Weekend had a song about Oxford comma.
Yeah.
And go and listen to it on Spotify, because honestly, it's a banger. It's a good one.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it. I've no idea.
Well, that's something new you could also learn today, Noel.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else we need to know about the new prompt engineering of 2026?
So one thing I'm finding, and it kind of goes back to the architecture update I did for Clyde. And what I find is AI works really well when you give it like structured data. So it can be a little bit techy, but basically there's a language called JSON, which is very, very simple coding language, but it makes things really quite clear. So that it would be like a parameter like name, and then it would then be like Noel, and then it could be like date of birth, and then give that. No, I'm not going to give that away. Yeah, so, yeah.
And
So
your national insurance number.
exactly, yeah.
And just the three numbers on the back of your card.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, with JSON, it's kind of like really, really structured and really kind of straightforward to read. It can be quite difficult to create it manually, I guess. But what I tend to do, especially when it comes to image prompting, is let's say you want to recreate an image based on a reference image you've already got. So you would supply that and then say to your LLM, right, give me the entire composition and style in JSON format. And it would then go off, it'll create that little code snippet. And, you can read it all. It should be really straightforward to do. But then you could then feed that into the LLM again and go, right, now create me 20 different variations based on this JSON and give it me back in JSON format. And then you can then feed that into like an image model and then say, right, create me an image and then just give it that JSON file and it will then go off and do it. So yeah, that kind of work doesn't just work for images, it can also work for text because AI these days really, really loves structured data. They can't get enough of it. But unfortunately, the chat model, that's not how we talk to them. So,
No.
If you want something in like a really rigorous, structured way, then start to look at getting it to provide it in a JSON format and then adding that into another conversation, because then you'll find you'll get it, exactly what you want every single time, which is pretty awesome. Okay. Something that I guess has been around for ages, but I think it's becoming more and more of a thing recently, I would say. Become a lot more prominent. A lot of people talking about it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So, is there something that, or one thing that everyone gets wrong about prompt engineering in 2026?
Is there? I guess it's just being too vague. I think we've still got that vagueness problem that we've had for years, ever since chat models became a thing. I think that there seems to be like a perception where you could give it like a really simple one-liner prompt and then expect miracles. And then you don't get it, and then you just go, well, AI's not for me. Kind of thing. And I think there's a lot of people fall into that trap. So yeah, you still have to be specific, and it goes back to the context as well, engineering and all that sort of stuff. So the more you give it, the more precise you are, the better it will be. So yeah, don't be too vague when talking to LLMs. Yeah, that's unfortunately.
Do you feel like you have to change the prompt depending on what LLM you're using? So say if you're using Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, do you feel like you have to change the prompt at all for each model, or do you feel like you could use the same for each model?
So I would say if you're more along the vague side of things, I would say you kind of have to give more structure and instructions when it comes to ChatGPT to be able to get the outputs you need. But if you've already created one that's got loads of context, they should work no matter which model you put it into. But if you're just, got a quick question, or, you've got like a really, vague thing that you need to ask, then I would say, yeah, Claude's kind of your man for that. Whereas with the Gemini and ChatGPT, you do need to give it that extra little nudge. You can't be too vague, otherwise, they're just too eager to please and give you an answer.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I feel
Yeah.
like the prompt that I have to put into ChatGPT versus what I have to put into Claude are actually quite different. I have to put in so much more information into ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. I also find if you put something vague into Claude, then it will come back and challenge you. I think instead
Yeah.
of like coming back and go, oh, well, that's an amazing idea, or whatever. Oh, you're so brilliant. Here's some stuff that you're not really going to read. It will come out and then say, well, if you're giving it something vague, it will ask you follow-up questions to understand a bit more and things like that, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, sometimes if you haven't given Claude enough information, it says before I, I don't know, write this out for you. I've got a couple of questions. And I love that it then asks you a couple of questions to make sure that it has got actually all the information it does really need, whereas ChatGPT just doesn't do that.
No, it's too eager to please, isn't he?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but I think actually going back to the number, the follow-up questions that Claude asks at the moment. So, like in the last month, they added that new pop-up that comes up now. So it give you like a multiple choice options, and I find those are incredible.
Love those.
Yeah, because normally you would have to go, right, well, it would list it in numbered points, and then you would then have to respond in numbered points.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
and
like,
it can just go click, or skip even.
Yeah. Or add in something else.
Yeah, if something's not relevant, then you just go skip. Love that so much. It's so good. Yeah, I really love that feature.
Used that a lot in Claude Coding last week.
I mean, whoever came up with that for Claude, 10 out of 10. Like, like you deserve a raise.
Yeah. I'd rather just tap 1, 2, 3, or 4 on the keyboard or click any day of the week.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most overhyped prompting advice that's going around on the internet right now?
That's a tricky one, actually.
Shall I say something that I see quite a lot?
Yeah.
Because I'm very much like in the entrepreneur coaching, on business online world. I get like a lot of ads, pointed my direction about AI and things like that. And I don't see it quite as much, but it definitely is still out there. It's still my 10 prompts to like build like 100k offer, or still my prompts and never be stuck for content again.
Yeah,
those are really like my bugbear.
Yeah, I don't get those that much these days. I think I've probably hidden those sort of ads. I think.
Yeah,
I don't get them anymore. But
I get more from 1 or 2 different companies, but it seems to have faded out by a lot of other people. But can we just kind of go into like why when you download someone else's prompts, why that's actually not a very good idea? Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, because what I found, because I used to download them, just to see what they were back in the day.
Spy on them.
Yeah, just to see what it was about. But I'd find that most of them were like super vague, and the responses you would then get back were kind of useful, but then at the same time it was like, well, this has got nothing to do with me. They're not tailored to you in any way, shape or form. They're incredibly generic. So if you think like 1,000 people have downloaded those prompts, like you're going to sound exactly the same as those 5,000 people.
Yeah.
And that's not really what we want. That's not ideal. So yeah, I would still avoid them. I just don't find them that useful. And if you really wanted prompts to do specific things, or to help you, just fire up ChatGPT or Claude and just ask it.
Yeah.
See what it comes back. Because I tell you what, none of those people have written those prompts themselves. I would put my hat on that.
Yeah, they're probably written by AI.
Yeah, especially where there's some where they go, steal my 5,000 prompts.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
You haven't checked and verified any of those,
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I would use AI to help you ideate those prompts, and and then take it from there, and then make them more personalized to you. So give it that extra context about you, what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, these days it kind of already knows anyway, with the memories and things like that. So it kind of gets a picture of you as a person or business over time anyway. But it's always good to reinforce those bits as well. But yeah, they're just not good.
Okay.
Not in my experience, unless somebody can give me one which is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So this is sort of related to that. So, like, how do you know when a prompt's actually working for you versus just producing something that looks right?
I guess it comes down to, would you repeat that time after time? I guess it's, if you feel comfortable thinking, if I run this next week, I'd be happy with that exact output every time, then that's when you've got it nailed down. And when it comes to, I guess from there, if you're on Claude or even Gemini, you could then create skills based on that. So, you could then say, well, look, this is what I usually ask for. This is the output I get. Create a skill to do it. You could do the same in ChatGPT with custom GPTs if you're on a paid account. So from that point, then all you've really got to do is like supply it the really vague prompt to say, well, just do this again this week. Here's like a file or whatever that you give it, and then it's all fully repeatable. If you're comfortable with repeats, then you've got it right.
Awesome.
Mm.
Anything else, Noel, that you want to add about prompt engineering in 2026?
Yeah. So I guess like in the olden days, we used to have
in 2025?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where we were just getting electricity.
Yeah. I was a bit less grey then, but not much. So there used to be like prompt formats. So you would always have like the role, goals, and expected outputs and workflows and all that sort of stuff. And you used to have to use that a lot in large language models to get what you wanted. Whereas like today, not really so much, but that skill is still really important when it comes to agents and configuring their prompts. So, if you go to like make.com or NN and create a new agent, you'll be left with like a blank system prompt box. And it's then up to you to then define those instructions. So having that skill of knowing what structure to use to get that agent working correctly, then that's still really important. But again, you could just ask your large language model and say, well, look, this is what I want this agent to do. Create me a structured prompt for that agent, and it will go off and it'll do a pretty good job. Obviously, check and read. Yeah, it used to be terrible at creating prompts for itself back in the day.
Back in the olden days, back in 2025.
Yeah, like GPT 3.5 was absolutely awful for creating prompts. These days a lot better, and it will give you in a proper structured format and things like that. So usually it's in what we call Markdown format, which is another language which AI really likes, just because it's kind of like got the heading tag, so it understands what's really important. So Basically, it's a bit like SEO with websites. So it'll see like the main title and then your subheadings and things like that. And it'll pick up on bold text. You could have like all caps bold, do not do this. And then, the AI will understand that a bit more than it would if, So still really important skill to learn.
Okay, well, should we leave it there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Lots to get into there for anyone wanting to level up their prompt engineering.
Yeah, and if you've got any questions, please send us an email. We'll leave our email address below, or come over to our free LinkedIn group. Anyone is welcome to join. Again, we'll leave the link in the show notes for you if you want to come along and join. Let us know as well if you liked this episode, or if you want us to cover anything else on our future upcoming podcast episodes. But thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time for another episode very soon.